Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. There's a reason for everything they do in Hollywood. They make these movies to condition you and to play into the thoughts that they want you to have, the way that they want you to perceive things. There's a new movie called Blink Twice that's coming out starring Channing Tatum, and you can see from the poster itself that they released for the movie. The all-seeing eye symbolism couldn't be more blatant. Even in the photograph that's coming out of the Polaroid, it couldn't be more blatant. But also what couldn't be more blatant is them using this plot to obviously get people to constantly have this perception that rich elites are all going to an island, and on that island, they are partaking in satanic acts, especially satanic acts with underage people, right? That is a mindset that they're now conditioning us with. Is there truth to that mindset? Of course there's truth to that mindset, but the reality of the matter is they're continuing to get everybody to look in one direction when they're really all in the opposite direction. So all this stuff they've been doing over the last couple of years with Jeffrey Epps, all of this stuff has been by design. Remember, Jeffrey Epps, is he involved in these acts? Of course he likely is. Probably 100% certainty. But all the stuff they reveal to us on the news, they do by design. If something like this was really happening in darkness, they would just whack this guy the way that the mob gets rid of somebody without you ever knowing about it, right? The way somebody disappears like Jimmy Hoffa. They don't publicize it. They don't push it through the media. They don't have these charade trials. Everything that happened with Jeffrey should make people say, hey, that was awfully strange how all that stuff happened out in the open, how there's this mystery surrounding him with the Clintons, everything else. That's because it's a production. That's their production. They want you to now think that all this type of wicked activity are happening out on islands. And does that mean that it's not happening there? No, it doesn't. But the mindset that everybody has now when they see a random island or a celebrity's going to an island, it's all been put into their head that every time they hear this stuff, that type of stuff is happening on those islands. But the reality of the matter is it's happening underground. All of our tax money over the years has gone into creating underground cities and underground tunnels where they literally have towns and cities underneath us all around the earth. And our tax money has created this. They would never in a million years expose that. Because remember, underground, they're sitting ducks for everybody. If you find out where they are underground, they could be trapped underground. They'll never let you know that that's happening underground. So they've created this diversion to make you think it's happening out in the middle of the ocean on these islands. And again, does that mean it doesn't happen there? No, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen there. But this is the new mindset that they've created. They've manufactured this mindset so that when somebody sees a trailer like this that I'm about to play for you, which is a really just, the trailer itself is creepy and disturbing. And you'll see the themes of this film, which tie into all the stuff I've exposed over the years and continue to expose in this channel. But you'll see that they want you to even see, they show you the island out of the window. They want you to formulate this in your head before you even get into the details of what the trailer is about, because they've created this. 10 years ago, when you thought of an island, a celebrity on an island, you didn't think of this stuff. Ever since Jeffrey, that's what everybody thinks. Every person thinks this when they hear about billionaire tech people going to islands, retreats, mysteriously, that this is what's occurring on these islands. But again, this stuff is happening underground, and nobody knows about this underground network that they've built underneath all of our countries on the earth. So the plot of the film, let me just tell you what the film's about. When tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida and is at his fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. As strange things start to happen, Frida questions her reality. And the film is by Zoe Kravitz, starring Channing Tatum. And again, Channing Tatum is another one of these Illuminati puppets in Hollywood. It's only famous because he's one of them. He reveals himself on magazine covers, and I'll get into the trailer in a few minutes, but you need to see this stuff beforehand so you know who's producing this, because they're not producing this production because they want to expose the same thing that they're involved in. They're producing it because they're trying to lead you in the wrong direction. So we've seen Channing Tatum doing the all-seeing eye symbolism on The Hollywood Reporter. Many times he's done it. One of the ones that's important to note, though, is a post that he put up on his own Instagram account where he's doing all-seeing eye symbolism. But if you notice, he's doing devil horns with his hands, and he has a ring on one of those fingers. What is that ring? Well, that's a ring of a white rabbit. Now, everybody out there has heard of the white rabbit in The Matrix. Most people never get into detail about the white rabbit. It's very difficult to talk about, but the white rabbit is a symbol for that red liquid that they like to feast off of. I can't say what it's called, but let's just call it an adrenaline rush. That's what that liquid is. That's the liquid that they consume. And that's really what it's all about. The basis of everything they do revolves around that. I just covered a movie within the last week that I got a strike on, without it ever going live, and the channel was temporarily removed for 24 hours. I won the appeal, but the movie was about this same subject. So it's another movie that's about the subject. Channing Tatum, of course. What do you think? He's randomly wearing a white rabbit on his finger and taking this picture. And nobody out there is wondering, oh, is he celebrating Easter every single? I mean, give me a break. They always show you this stuff. And again, the reason that the white rabbit represents that is because the compound, the compound, the symbol we always see, these compounds, right? This is what carbon looks like. This is what this looks like. The compound structure for that red liquid looks a lot like a bunny rabbit. It has, you could look it up yourself. I don't know if I'll put the picture in this actual video because of the algorithm, but that's what the meaning behind this symbol is. And we've seen celebrities like Ariana Grande wearing the rabbit. You can pretty much find every single celebrity, specifically females, but you can find males who are wearing white rabbit ears on their heads, right? We have Ariana Grande doing this, and it's, clearly some type of disgusting act where Ariana Grande seems to have a red liquid all over herself and is biting somebody else, so you could start understanding what that red liquid is. We even see Macaulay Culkin many times doing this, very obvious of what Macaulay Culkin is. You could even see the effect that it's had on him, how he looks in the year 2024. But he even has a podcast called Bunny Ears. This is how they get away with this stuff in plain sight. They think that they're clever. They're calling, he has an underground band. I've covered Macaulay Culkin many times. If you haven't seen the videos, they're on the website. He has his own band called Pizza Underground, where they dress up as pizza. So if he's not dressing up as pizza, which everybody out there knows the symbolism behind pizza, I would assume at this point, he's dressing up as a bunny rabbit. His band is about pizza. His podcast is about bunny rabbits. Very clear, just looking at Macaulay Culkin, what he's involved in. Of course, Macaulay Culkin was born into it. He was born into it. His parents pushed him into it. But what happens is these kids are born into it, a lot of them. But then they end up becoming just like their handlers once were, and they become handlers themselves, is what happens to people like Culkin, Miley Virus. We've even seen Madonna over the years with the bunny rabbit. So people need to understand why they dress up and do the bunny rabbit symbolism so many times. And again, the film is by Zoe Kravitz. I'm about to play the trailer for you, but if you don't know, Zoe Kravitz is the daughter of Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz, many times we've also seen doing the all-seeing eye symbolism, of course, because if you're famous, you're in the club. And no coincidence that Zoe Kravitz has tattoos on her body that are ones that we've all exposed or know about, right? She has an eyeball on her arm, but I guess she's a failed optometrist, right? She loves eyes just like all these other celebrities love eyes. She even has a serpent tattoo on her arm. So we know that they're all in the club. So the movie isn't about exposing what happens on these islands, but you'll see from the trailer I'm playing for you now that not only are they trying to get you to always think that these billionaire techs are doing these acts on islands and not underground, they're also even showing you the effects of that red liquid as you'll see the characters in the film start deteriorating, pretty much get Kuru out on the island, which is pretty unbelievable that they're showing this stuff. But here is the trailer for the movie Blink Twice.
Slater King, question that everybody is dying for you to answer. Where have you been?
Sort of bought an island. It's a great place to bring friends. We're going to my island for a few days. Do you guys want to come?
Did we just jet off to a billionaire's island with a bunch of strangers? He's Slater King. Phones, please. Wait, for real?
Just better without phones. We grow our own food.
So do you think it's weird that there's, like, clothes for us? Legendary parties of Slater King. Blink Twice if I'm in danger. What day is it?
You know.
When are we leaving?
Whenever you want.
Okay. Dude, your eye. There's something wrong with this place. I've turned under my nails and I don't know how I got there.
Are you having a good time?
I feel like we're forgetting, like, a lot of stuff.
Something weird going on.
Things making us forget. Where's Jess?
Who's Jess?
You remember her,
Yes.
but I don't remember her.
I'm going for the phones. Keep a lookout. We need to find out what's really going on.
It's a really special place.
So if you didn't blink twice, you could clearly see that the trailer is specifically trying to make you think of that island that Jeffrey was told. Of course, remember, we're told that Jeffrey did this on an island. We're told about these flight logs. This is all stuff that they could burn and bury. If it makes the news, it means they want you to know about it. People have a tough time wrapping their head around it. They'll just hear me say this and they'll be like, oh, he's protecting this guy. He's protecting that guy. They don't even know that they know this information because the government is telling you this information. They're leading you in the wrong direction. Does it mean that those people are not involved in this stuff? Of course not. They're definitely 100% involved. The Tom Hankses of the world, all of them. Jeffrey himself. And the Donald, too, who is an associate with him. But the notion that all this stuff occurs on these islands is what they want you to think. Anytime you hear a story about a celebrity having an island, P. Diddy, all these guys, they want you to think that. They never, ever, ever want you to realize that this stuff is really happening underground, because all these missing people are underground. All these kids that were on the side of milk cartons in the 80s and 90s are underground, or were underground at one point in time. They've used our tax money to build underneath us. And underneath us is where they plan to continue to reside, especially when crap hits the fan on the surface. When they do a lot of these weather manipulated events with weaponized weather. When there's civil unrest. Everyone thinks that they're going to be hiding in Maui or hiding on an island. Look, they're going to be underground. That's where they're going to be. And the majority of people need to be aware of this, because if we could figure out, what military bases have access and entry points, where are the entry points to their underground tunnels and temples that they have, then people could start figuring out where they are, where missing children go in an age where you couldn't go missing if you wanted to. We still hear stories about kids going missing, right? They go missing because that's where they're going. They're going underground with no trace of them on the surface anymore, on the Earth's surface. So this notion that they have in this film isn't to expose what these people really do. I mean, there's obviously truth in all these films, and there's truth in this 100%, but you could see how the people were responding on the island, how fingernails were falling off, how they were getting sick. Little by little, they were getting sick, and they were clearly showing you that it was from the food or what they were being fed on this island. Because again, that red liquid, that red substance can lead to things like kuru, which is a disease that occurs from ingesting the flesh or the red liquid of a human being. And every single person who sees this trailer, I guarantee you, at least every single person who pays attention to the news in some way, shape, or form, maybe not a young child, but everybody out there everybody has heard of this guy, Jeffrey, which means they've wanted you to hear about him. So everybody who sees this trailer is immediately going to think that, oh, this is what the tech billionaires are doing over. This is what Zuckerberg. No, they're going to think it's about Mark Zuckerberg, probably. So while there's truth to it, think about how they take a story like this and how they try to lead you astray. How they try to make you think that every time you see an island out your window, what's going on that island? Every time you're on a plane, what could be going on over there, right? Even the picture of the bungalows in the movie that they showed you look exactly like the bungalows that we were shown of the island that this guy resides on. Again, the entire thing is a CIA operation. If you understand how they work, you understand that the media and the news is fully controlled, they don't have to tell you any of this stuff. Would any of us know who this guy was unless they plastered it on TV? They could have just whacked him quietly and ended the entire thing. They wouldn't do a trial. That's not how they work. They did all this stuff because they want to lead you down a rabbit hole, an endless rabbit hole, where not only does nothing get resolved, but there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight to it. So you're going in the wrong direction. You're constantly, yes, there's truth involved. Yes, these people are involved, but they're giving you flight logs. They're giving you all of this information deliberately. That's how you have to look at all this stuff with the news. You have to. You have to just say, why are they telling me this? Would I have known who this guy was? What, they're telling me because they're journalists and they're here to inform us? We're way beyond that. Everybody out there knows we're beyond that, but they don't realize that, well, even every story you're getting fed, they're feeding you it by design. That's where you have to think when you see the news. You can't just be like, well, the news, they're not journalists anymore. They're all Democrats, and Fox News is all conservatives, and all they're doing is pushing their political, pundit, or pushing their, politicians that they like, which are whatever party they're associated with. You have to look at it and say, look, these aren't journalists, so anything they're giving us on here is to program us. They're telling us about this guy. Why? Because they're making us think that all this stuff is happening. These are the people involved. They're going to get away with it, and they're over here instead of looking over there. And really, when I say over there, I mean underneath all of us. Because the amount of tunnels, the amount of temples that they have underground at this point in 2024 is beyond comprehension. The entire country, look at it on a map and just imagine, well, you know about Chicago, you know about New York, you've seen all these big cities. Just imagine cities underground. People can't comprehend that they have the ability to do that. And it's not just the ability to do it, they've already done it. And that's where people need to start looking. That's where their mind needs to start going. Because again, they want you to always think from this point forward, when anything happens on this surface, that's where they are. And I'll tell you right now, if they're above ground anywhere on the earth, when crap hits the fan, it's going to be in Antarctica. That's where. And they'll be underground there too, so it doesn't really matter. But I mean, that would be the area. If you're talking about an island or somewhere that you can't access, it would be there and underground. But there's going to be a lot of them underground in the United States of America. They already are. So the latest film, Blink Twice, just to recap everything we discussed here, you saw the all-seeing eye symbolism in the logo, the plot of the film about a tech billionaire who brings people to his island where bizarre parties happen, right? They're obviously referencing all this stuff with Jeffrey and Tatum again, showing us the all-seeing eye symbolism with the bunny rabbit. That bunny rabbit represents, that white rabbit, the compound structure that this entire plot is about. And all these movies are continually releasing plots about this red liquid. The movie's called Blink Twice, but you don't have to blink twice because nobody should be in shock anymore about who these people are and what they're doing. But what they need to start doing is realizing that every single story, every single thing that they're giving you here is to formulate these perceptions in your mind. They want you to think that all this stuff's going on an island. But guess what? It's not. It's going on right underneath your feet. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.